Hey guys, and welcome to my Fight Caves guide for 2018. In this guide I'm going to be covering the gear you need, your inventory setup and the stats you need to get your fire cape easily. I hope you guys enjoy and find this video helpful. Now as a first timer I do recommend you get 70 plus stats. If you're experienced with the fight caves you can do it with way lower stats, as I've done so myself. But for the first time I recommend you have either 70 plus defense and ranged, 70 plus defense and magic, or 70 plus melee stats. Why, you may ask? Well, with these stats you can wield much better weapons with much higher accuracy, which will make your fight with Jad easier and the entire fight caves easier. Also, 43 prayer, obviously. Without this you can't prayer switch Jad, as you need to protect from ranged and magic in your prayer book. For items and armor, I strongly recommend you get yourself a Blood Amulet of Fury. Why, you may ask? This amulet is basically like the low level, mid level Soul Split. It heals you randomly and can heal up to 1.2k HP. You can make this amulet with 80 crafting, with a blood shard and a amulet of fury. If you do not have 80 crafting, ask a player to request assist you and help you craft it. Now if you have some spare loyalty points, you can get yourself a vampirism aura. This aura basically heals you from the damage you deal, so it's very useful. I recommend you activate it around wave 20-30 when the mages come in, because then it gets harder and you get hit a lot more, and it only lasts an hour. So if you're lower level, I'm sure you will do like 1 hour and 50 minutes for the fight cave, depending on how good you can DPS. But yeah, this is a good option for the fight caves. If you want to have some extra prayer points, the penance aura can help you out with that. It's basically the same with the damage you deal, but then it returns prayer points instead of life points. Now for armor, I just take what's best. If you think it's going to be easy, just take some lower level armor. If you think you don't need the tankier armor like Carol's for range, just take Armadil. Same goes for mage. Instead of Arims, you go for Subjugation, which gives you a little bit of magic bonus, aka DPS bonus. And for melee, Bandos. And if you want some extra healing and some extra defense, Guffins is better. It's basically like the Blood Fury a little bit. It heals you randomly and it's very useful. And there's not more to say about the armor. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Just take what's best for you and use that. Now for the inventory, it's different for everyone. For lower levels, I recommend you use Super Restores to restore your stats and prayer points that you've drained with the Sourdome Ruse, which are basically 1k life points each sip. So a flask is 6000 HP. If you're higher level, just use some prayer potions and take some food just in case. Always use stat boosting pots. The reason for this is, well, it's just going to make your life easier and it's going to be faster. If you're a lower level, I recommend you use a shield to use Rejuvenate with, which is basically just a healing ability. And as you can see, there's a little example on the right, which I use. I don't think I'll be using any of the food since I'm just going to be soul splitting and vampirizing all the damage I take back. But yeah, this is a kind of like a example for the inventory. Now, for those of you that do not know how to get here, you go to Port Sarim, you pay the fare for going to Karamja, then you go into the volcano. The entrance is pretty obvious, and then from there on you walk to this little spot you see on the minimap in this kind of cave system, and that's it, you're there. There's a bank there, so you can get your stuff there. You don't need to take anything with you. You can even pot up and then grab a new full potion before you go in, and then you'll be ready to go. Now I did forget to add, if you're 70 ranged or magic and you have some money to spare, you can buy the Mazcab ability codex of the Grand Exchange. With this codex you can unlock 2 abilities, one for ranged and one for magic. I do have to add, for one Mazcab ability codex you only get one ability. It's around 10 mil I think, and it's basically an area bleed that's very powerful and very useful in the fight caves or the fight kiln. So in the video you can see me walking to 2 safe spots. I'm just showing this for the lower levels. If you're lower level, these safe spots are useful, as you can safe spot from the big melee guys, which you'll see in a bit, and safe spot from some of the rangers and majors, and that's how you will take less damage and it'll be easier for you to do the fight caves. Okay, moving on to the monsters. So on the first wave, you'll encounter your first prayer dropping bird monster thing. It doesn't do much damage, but when it does hit you, it takes 10 of your prayer points. So if you're not paying attention during the fight cave, a few of these can pile you and can drop your prayer points really fast. So always kill these first. So on the third wave, you'll encounter your first small melee guy. When you kill it, it turns into 2 even smaller ones. They're very easy to kill, especially if you're using magic, and surprisingly easy to kill even with ranged, so you won't have too much issue with these. So on the 7th wave, you'll encounter your first ranger. They're not that hard, but if you're lower level and you don't pray ranged against these, the damage can add up. On wave 15, you encounter your first big melee guy. You can safe spot these with the safe spot, and therefore trap them so they can't hit you, but they're really not that hard at all. They might look scary with the high combat level and the big size, but they're pretty easy, even with ranged. They can heal themselves though, so watch out, you have to really DPS them out quick. Now on wave 31, you'll encounter your first big mage. Now all you really need to do is pray magic and DPS them out as fast as you can, because even with prayer, these guys can hit up to 2Ks through your prayer, so they hit very hard, and if you're low level, they will absolutely smack you. Now throughout the rest of the fight caves, it's just going to be mix-ups of monsters like the previous waves until you get to 62, which is the last wave before Jad, where you want to actually focus, as I'll show you in a second. So wave 62 is the wave before Jad. This is the wave you get ready for Jad. So you either pot up, get your prayer points up, your magic or ranged or melee stats boosted, and get to a safe spot where you kill the final mage, as seen in the video. And if you want, you can put your prayers on your bar like I did. It makes it easier. Then you just press one button to switch to ranged prayer and one button to switch to magic prayer, as I'll explain in a minute. This is the final boss for the fight caves until you get your fire cape. All you have to do is focus on prayer switching as seen in the video. When Jad hurls up on his hind legs, he shoots a fireball at you. This is when you pray magic immediately when he hurls up on his hind legs. And then you will just take 1 damage and deflect it pretty much. With his ranged attack, he smashes the ground with his front feet. At this point, you have to pray ranged. If you're too late, you're going to get a hit. Just look at the video, it's very easy, and that's all you have to focus on while fighting Jad at the first part. Now, until he reaches about 20k HP, there's nothing to worry about. Just keep prayer switching and keep DPSing Jad, and eventually healers will spawn. Now, as seen in the video, you just turn your auto retaliate off, and you target all of them while keeping your eye on Jad and prayer switching. And it's very easy, just to keep focusing and just target all of them once. Don't kill them, just hit them so they aggro onto you, then move back so they can't heal Jad, and then start DPSing him once again to finish him off, because this time he won't be healed. And eventually he will die. Congratulations on your first fire cape. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you want more guides, don't forget to like, favorite and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.